Okay, it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. What's up? Welcome back to my channel once again. And today we're doing another reading Reddit stories video. Hey. We're on winter break, obviously. I think you can kind of guess that. So right now I'm gonna be home for like a month, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I thought, I really like doing the Reddit story videos, and I haven't been able to do them in college. And I'm back home with all my stuff. Let's make some more Reddit story videos. So I have like 4 planned out. We'll see if I can even get to 4. But yeah, so hopefully we can get through some. Really miss doing these, really enjoy doing these, and yeah. So welcome back to reading Reddit stories. Today we are doing more Am I the Butthole stories. I've got 3 stories lined up. I'm actually reading off of an iPad this time, so it'll be a lot easier. So the scoring system is still the same. 1 through 5 rated at the end of the story. And yeah, all the links to the original stories will be down below if the stories are still up. Before we begin, please make sure you like, subscribe, and yeah, let me know what you think of these stories. This first story is from the subreddit r/am I the butthole by Dulce Zoe. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's by Dulce Zoe. It's titled, Am I the Butthole for Refusing to Babysit My Niece at the Last Minute? So, right off the bat, based on the title alone, I'm gonna say no. Because you shouldn't spring babysitting on someone, especially in your family, last minute. Like, that's just not cool to do. It puts a lot of stress on that person. Also can make that person feel kind of guilty because they're like, oh shoot, well, I need to be responsible here, but maybe they can't. And yeah, just overall, I'm gonna say, as of right now, OP, not the butthole. Let's see. There are a couple names in this story. So for OP's sister, I'm just gonna call her sister, and for OP's niece, I'm gonna call her niece. I work full-time and recently started taking evening classes to finish my degree. My schedule is packed and I rely on my evenings to study or attend classes. My sister has a 4-year-old daughter. I love my niece and I babysat her many times when she asks in advance. Last week, sister called me about an hour before my class to ask if I would watch niece for a few hours. She said she and her husband both had work emergencies. I told her I had an important class that evening which included a review session for an upcoming exam. I apologized and said I couldn't miss it and she would need to figure out something else. Sister ended up calling our mom, who was able to go over and watch niece. Now she is upset with me and says I was selfish for not helping when she really needed it. She said she would not have asked unless it was a real emergency. My mom also mentioned that I could have made it work since sister has a lot on her plate with her job and being a mom. I feel bad for saying no, but I also feel like I had a valid reason. Am I the butthole to stick to my plans instead of helping her? No. You're definitely not. I get that, like, things can happen, especially when, both parents are working and they're super busy and, trying to provide for their child or children. But that doesn't make everyone else's life stop at the same time. So with OP being in college and taking classes, even though they're just evening classes and it doesn't sound, maybe she's not like full-time enrollment or anything, she still is like trying to get a degree and is paying for these classes, and you can't reschedule these classes. Usually there can be like different times the course will be at, but if this is the one that OP can make work, then she picked this one for a reason. And it sounds like her sister might also know that she has this class, or would hopefully know that she has this class if she's been taking it for a while. Overall, I don't think OP's the butthole. You can't reschedule things like that, especially a class. And especially, did she say she was reviewing for an exam? Yeah. College exams, you gotta do the review sessions for those if you can. You've got to do them. The amount of review sessions I've had to go to for exams already, and I've only been there for 3 months. Yeah. They're super important, and usually they're not super flexible either. So you gotta make it to them. Overall, I don't think OP's the butthole in this story. I'm going to give her a 0 out of 5. And I'm thinking I'm going to probably give this sister like a 0.5 out of 5. I mean, she didn't really push it all that much. And the mom, I think I'm going to give her a 1 out of 5. I'm definitely going to give her a 1 out of 5 for trying to push OP to suck it up or not suck it up, but, help with her niece. Yeah, the mom saying that you could have made it work, she's got a job, you could step up here. Come on now. Like, come on. You know that as her mom, I would hope, she knows that she's in college and that she's trying to do these classes. And she should understand that, like, she can't always step up when things like that are needed. So, I'm going to give the mom a 1 out of 5 for pushing it. And yeah, I think that's where we're at with this. The next story was uploaded by Pristine Lolly and it's titled, Am I the Butthole for Refusing to Let My Roommate Borrow My Expensive Headphones and Confronting Her when She Tried to Take Them Without Asking? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Right away, I'm going to say OP probably by the end of this will get like a 0 out of 5 from me. The roommate? I mean, nah. No. So here's the thing. Like, I've also learned this over the past 3 months living with a roommate. It's nice to share things, but like for me personally, how we kind of do it is like if we want to borrow something that is the other person's, we ask them permission first. And if they say no, then they say no. Like, we're not gonna push it past that. We always ask like, oh, hey, could I borrow this? Do you mind if I borrow this? And usually it's something small. So it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you can borrow it for a little bit. But if either of us ever is like, oh, no, not right now, or I'd rather maybe not, or we just say no in general, then we respect that boundary that we're setting for each other. Like, sorry, no. So right away, I'm going to say OP, probably 0 out of 5. Most likely 0 out of 5. Roommate? I don't know. Roommate sounds like a butthole. Also, there is a name in here, so I'm just going to call the roommate. I recently bought a pair of expensive noise-canceling headphones. They're really important to me since I need them for studying in our loud apartment. My roommate asked to borrow them to use during her cafe shift, but I said no because I wasn't comfortable with them leaving the apartment. She wasn't happy and called me ridiculously protective. A few days later, I caught her taking them off the counter without asking. I immediately told her to put them back and said I didn't trust her with my stuff anymore. Now she's mad at me saying I'm selfish and she's been giving me the cold shoulder. One of our other roommates agrees with me, but another thinks it's no big deal to let her borrow them. I'm wondering if I overreacted by not letting her borrow them and confronting her when she took them. Am I the butthole? No, you're not. You set a boundary. That's not overreacting by saying, hey, I told you I don't want you to borrow this, or I don't want you to use this outside of the apartment. And you did it anyway behind my back. You were sneaking and taking them. Like, yeah. If that happened to me, if anybody asked me for something and I said, no, sorry, I'm not comfortable with that, and then they went behind my back and were doing it anyway and was like sneaky and taking it, I would confront them too. I would be like, are you kidding me? I told you I was not comfortable with that and you did it anyway. So I don't think that's necessarily an overreaction, especially I just got a pair of noise canceling headphones. They're expensive. They are very, very expensive. I don't think I would let anyone borrow them. If I'm being quite honest, I wouldn't let anybody borrow them. Especially if they were like leaving the room or like going somewhere where I wasn't and just taking them. I don't trust that. I don't trust that I wouldn't get them back. OP in this story to me, 0 out of 5. Definitely not an overreaction. You set a boundary. It was violated. You tried to say, hey, I asked you not to do that. So, sorry, I keep hitting the mic. So could you not do that? And then to be kind of told, like, oh, you're just overreacting, like, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. No. 0 out of 5. Roommate? I'm gonna say roommate gets, like, a 2 out of 5. And I say that because I get that it's like, oh, yeah, these are just headphones. But, like, what if it turned into something bigger? Like, hey, please don't go in my room. And then she's going in her room and stuff like that. You know? Because if she already thinks it's an overreaction to not be allowed to borrow expensive headphones, or being told, like, hey, I prefer if you maybe don't bring them outside of the apartment, and she goes and does it anyway because she wants to, what's stopping her from being like, oh, I wanted to like take a blanket out of your room or something and you weren't here, so I went in your room and took it and I didn't even ask you. Like, what? Come on now. Don't do that. So yeah, OP 0 out of 5. Roommate 2 out of 5, because that could possibly be indicative of future behaviors that are not fun. Not fun. This is probably going to be the shortest reading Reddit stories ever. I have literally never been able to wrap up 2 stories this quick. It's been 15 minutes. It usually takes me 15 minutes to get through one story. This is the last story here. So this last story was uploaded to the subreddit by Misty_Dawn20, and it's titled, Am I the butthole for refusing to pay my brother back for things that he said I could have? Okay. So I remember I had read this story like a while ago, and I don't remember exactly what it was all about, but I'm gonna say, based on like that information alone, the brother saying you can have it, like you can have it, I'm gonna say no, not the butthole right now, but I don't fully remember what the story's about, so we're gonna have to read it for sure. To cut a very, very long story short, I was raised by my grandma and believed she was my mother until I was 11. Sorry, that caught me off guard. Okay. Until I was 13 when social services got involved and felt she could no longer care for me properly and I was going to be placed with a foster family. Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. My older brother, who's actually my uncle, had already moved out and gave me a few things before I left. These things were a PS2, a few games, an old electric guitar and amp, 2 pairs of jeans, and a hoodie. My foster parents already owned an Xbox 360, and I also found a PS2 Slim and some more games by an elderly neighbor when I helped him clear out his attic, and he said I could keep them. So I never really used the PS2 my brother gave me, and the first Christmas I was with my foster parents, they bought me a new electric guitar and amp. Once I hit 14, the clothes that he gave me did not fit me anymore, and when I was 15, the jeans didn't fit either. My brother's stuff all got stored in the garage, but unfortunately they all got ruined during a flood. Okay, I'm sorry. There is so much behind this that is crazy. Oh, oh my goodness. I didn't even react to the first bit. So OP was 11, being raised by her grandmother, who she believed was her mother until she was 11, and then at 13 was placed with a foster family, and then her brother, who's actually her uncle, but she thought was her brother probably up until she was 11, gave her all these things before she left to go live with the foster family and said, you can have them. Okay, I got it now. Sorry. I had to work through that one. My foster parents showed me what a loving, caring family was really like and ended up adopting me when I was 16. And now I consider them my parents, and I love them very much. However, a couple years ago, I decided I wanted to try and reconnect with my grandma, and we've now developed a more normal relationship. And she seemed genuinely remorseful over what happened and her lack of contact over the years, but I hadn't seen my brother until recently when he showed up whilst I was visiting. Okay. Dang. Okay. Sorry. There's so much going on. I feel so bad for OP and this grandma. Initially, it was really nice, and we talked about how the past few years had been for both of us, and I was happy until he said, "So, can I have my stuff back now?" I asked what he meant, and he said, "You know, the stuff I gave you when you left. The PS2, the games, the clothes, my guitar." I replied with, "Oh, them? Well, you said I could have them, not borrow them, so I considered them to be gifts." He said, "Look, I only gave them to you because I felt sorry for you. Just give them back." Hello? Where is this attitude coming from? What? Okay. I explained that everything had gotten damaged. He said, typical. You know, if you weren't such a F up, you wouldn't have had to be put into care anyway. What? You can pay me back for all that stuff. That's like 600 pounds you owe me. I laughed in his face and said, no way am I paying you that much. If you really want the PS2 back that badly, I have a slim version you can have, even though I'd like to keep it. Even though they were definitely gifts, but I'm not paying you a penny. He called me a effing bee and a butthole, and then stormed out. My grandma said, don't worry about him. I'll make sure he won't be around you again. After he stormed out. What? Is this dude a grown adult acting like this over that? What in the world? I only work as a barista, and with the cost of living crisis, I barely have enough money to pay for Christmas presents for everyone this year. 600 pounds is literally unattainable for me, but I'm wondering, am I the butthole? He never said he expected them back, but he never explicitly said they were gifts, only that I could have them. Have them. That's the key word right there. You can have them. There's a difference between borrowing and having something. Okay. Oh my gosh. There's so much already just going on with the backstory. I already feel so bad for OP and this grandma with all the stuff they had to go through. It sounds like there might even be more to the story, but, you know, details. I don't think they're necessarily details that apply to this specific situation. I'm going to say OP 0 out of 5. You know, sounds like she was kind of under the impression that her brother/uncle had given her these things to keep, especially since he said you can have them. Like, that implies, like, you can keep these. You don't need to give them back to me. You don't need to pay me for them. You can just take them, and they're yours now. So, I'm going to give OP, like, a 0 out of 5 for this. The grandma, I don't know what else could have gone into it. It sounds like there's definitely some other stuff that had gone on between those two, but for this specific situation, I'm going to also give her a 0 out of 5, especially since she was like, I'm sorry, just ignore him, I will keep him away, I'll make sure he doesn't bother you. So for this specific scenario, I'm going to give her a 0 out of 5. The brother/uncle, though, he's going to get like a 3 out of 5 for me, at least. Because, one, how old was he? Does it say how old he was when she moved out? Because she moved out at, like, 13. Okay. She moved out at 13. It does not say how much older he was than her. I don't know how long ago OP was 16. For this, I'm going to assume OP is an adult. And I'm going to assume that the brother/uncle is older than her. It sounds like he may be older than her. Even if he's younger than her, he's probably also still an adult. So with that being said, why are you acting like that as an adult? Saying that she is just a mess, like a mess up? Is that basically what he said? Typical. You know, if you weren't such a mess up, you wouldn't have had to be put into care anyway. What? That is a ridiculous thing to say to anybody, in my opinion. That is just absolutely terrible to say to a person. I mean, I think actually I'm going to upgrade this. He gets a 4 out of 5. There is no reason to be treating another human being that way. Especially if, like, he's an adult. Like, come on now. It's items that you said she could have, and then you're like, I only gave it to you because I felt sorry for you. Yeah, you just admitted that you gave it to her. You can't expect it back now. You can't take things back once you give them to a person. You can't expect that they'll just give them back. If you're like, actually, I don't want to give that to you anymore, so you're going to have to give it back to me. No, you can't just do that. So yeah, I mean, there could be some other stuff going on. You never know someone's full situation. But based on this, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. Because that's just a ridiculous way to be treating a person. In my opinion. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really missed making these, and I'm excited I'm going to get to make a couple more before I go back to college. So, honestly, these Reading Reddit story videos coming up are probably going to be the last videos for a while, because when I go back in the spring, it's not really in the spring, it's still the winter, but kind of for the spring semester, softball will be starting. Softball will be in season, and I will basically be back in Ohio until May at the earliest. So, not going to have a lot of time to really do videos. I'm going to have a lot of things going on, like practice and class and traveling for games. Like, we're going to Florida. We're going to Florida for a tournament, which is going to be super fun. But yeah, so, again, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below any other subreddits you would like for me to read from, maybe in the future, like in the summer. Yeah, I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. We'll see how much longer TikTok's around, though, because I heard that's getting banned next month. We'll see. I hope you all have been doing well. I know it's been a hot minute since I've made a video. It's actually been like 3 months. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I still appreciate every one of you. And, yeah. Goodbye.